The Cape Winelands are the staging ground of the Absa Cape Epic. Emerald vineyards are the backdrop for many of the best trails, and the wineries themselves often provide the race village. Saronsburg Wine Estate provided the Stage 1 and 2 starts and finishes, as well as the Stage 3 start. The farm in Tilbach produced its first vintage in 2004 and has gone on to win international awards for their superb full circle blend in particular. The 2020 vintage, which is an 80% Shiraz, 10% Mourvedre, 5% Grenache, 3% Viognier and 2% Roussanne blend, received 95 points in the Decanter World Awards, Michelangelo and Veritas Wine Award gold medals, and 5 stars from the Platter Wine Guide. Hopefully the teams had packed a bottle or two in their bags ahead of the transition stage to Wellington, though perhaps something cooler, like a bottle of chilled Saronsburg Cup Classique, would be a better way to celebrate the completion of the first phase of the race. After 2 days at Saronsburg, the race was moving to Wellington. Stage 2 had been a dramatic one, with a change in the race lead putting an exclamation point on the time in Tilbach. An early puncture put the leaders, World Bicycle Relief, on the back foot. Chase as they could, Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney could not reel in the leaders. They were not the only team to suffer a puncture. Matt Beers flattered in the Witzenberg Valley, and soon after the Toyota Specialized 91 team were back up and riding, Willia Vittoria punctured, allowing Beers and Howard Grotz to gain a position on the trails. All the while, Buff Megamo's Hans Becking and Wout Allemann were staying out of trouble. They attacked the last of their companions, Orbea Leert Speed Company, on the climb out of the valley, and then descended the old wagon trail to victory. Behind them, a 3-team battle for second was won by Schurter and Finney over Lucas Baum and Georg Geiger, with Beers and Grotz fourth. The stage win by 2 minutes was enough to leapfrog Buff Megamo into the race lead.
We attacked on the last climb and it was super hard. Then we just did that. We take the leader's jersey. Wow. It's been a childhood dream, and that it comes true now. It's crazy, and
He's crying.
with one of my best friends, it's something special.
After stage 2, Allemann and Becking led the 2024 race by 32 seconds over Schurter and Finney. Beers and Grotz were third, 1:52 back. Orbea Leert Speed Company and Willia Vittoria rounded out the top 5. In the Aramex women's race, stage 2 was more closely contested. There were mechanicals and punctures too, though only Vera Lossa and Alexa Skada suffered significantly. The efficient Infinity Insure SCB SRAM team endured a mystery issue on the old wagon trail, which cost them the best part of 7 minutes and put them out of the favourites group of Ghost Factory Racing, Specialized Toyota 91 and Cannondale Factory Racing. Candice Lill was the next to puncture, but it did not cost her and Mona Mitterwallner too much of a chase. They, Ann Terpstra, Nicole Kohler, Sophia Gomez-Viafan and Samara Shepherd started the final climb together. The latter pair were distanced halfway up, while the women in orange and the South African World Champion combination were inseparable. That was until the run into Saronsburg, where Terpstra and Kohler outfoxed and outboxed Lill and Mitterwallner. Completing the victory, Ghost Factory Racing added a third stage win to their epic haul.
After they lost the sprint against us yesterday, they wanted to give some punches early on, but we could hang on and we could also talk a bit. So we just decided to try something else and risk it. But that worked out well for us. We thought we'd just try to pass them, get a gap, and then see if we make it until the finish line.
After stage 2, Terpstra and Kohler led Cannondale Factory Racing by 1 minute and 13 seconds. Gomez-Viafan and Shepherd were third at 6:37, ahead of Loss and Skada, as well as Eford Private Client Holdings, Leona Gerol and Hayley Preen. For the amateur riders, right at the back of the Absa Cape Epic 720 team field, the first 2 marathon stages were trial by trail, by climbs and by searing heat.
I don't know, It's the Absa Cape Epic. It always throws a few surprises at you, and it was tough. That's what you expect from the Epic. So kudos to them, and we survived.
20 years ago, we didn't know anything about an 8-day stage. We didn't have the knowledge, we didn't have this type of equipment. So it was tough in itself, very tough. And now it's become, with the technology, they make it tougher.
Today was tough, but good partner pulling me through, so making sure I get here.
Looked like it was a proper epic day today. You could very clearly see that there was a lot of stress out there. The terrain was hot, there were lots of broken wheels, so it was a real epic day today.
It was climb like a beast for what felt like about 12 hours. Hop around there on the other side, getting punished for another 12 hours, and then get punished all the way home on the descent. A really tough day.
It was a rough day.
Special.
I'd say more than 4 stars of difficulty.
What's right?
It's difficult, but no. Yeah, it's really fun, but really hard.
The only transition stage of the 2024 Absa Cape Epic would take teams 94 kilometres from Saronsburg in Tilbach to CPUT's Wellington campus. The day's 2,100 metres of climbing came by and large from the ascent through Waterval Nature Reserve, up Blueberry Hill and over Bain's Kloof Pass. Single tracks awaited on the western side of the Limietberg, with full Monty and cheese grater providing late thrills. The mix of rough and smooth surfaces ahead presented a unique challenge and a reason to focus despite the seemingly easier day ahead.
Yeah, so it's stage 3. We're leaving Tilbach today. We're heading for Wellington, and luckily yesterday we managed to get enough time to get into the red jersey. I'd say yesterday was sort of a conservative day for us. We didn't, we went hard in the start, but then tried to settle in our own pace. We're quite far off a GC result, but yeah, we want to try for a stage win somewhere. We just have to see where that opportunity presents itself.
Departing Saronsburg, the men were racing into the known and the unknown, heading towards familiar trails with familiar rivals by their side. But steering into the ever-dynamic and changing battle of bike racing, concentration as much as conditioning would be tested in the untamed to come. For the teams contesting the RMX women's competition, the day would likewise be one where patience and perseverance would have to be facilitated by absolute attention.
It's probably one of the most special feelings wearing a leader's jersey. The last time I was in it was with Theresa Rolfe in 2019, so for Hayley and I to fight for the jersey just to wear it for a couple of days is absolutely incredible. I know that the routes are hard and we have a special skill set, so the more technical the terrain, the more we love it and start to thrive. So we'll see how we do today, but the fight is going to be on all the way until the finish.
Rolling off the start line, 94 arduous kilometres lay ahead. There would be reasons to stress and long moments of suffering for even the world's best stage racers. The challenge of the terrain which needed to be conquered, augmented by the strength and aggression of the rivals each team were up against. In the UCI men's race, the early open roads provided little opportunity for the field to splinter. Nonetheless, the best teams did not wait for the course to provide opportunities to make life tough for the lesser contenders. They drove up the speed and used the crosswinds to reduce the group to 20 or so teams. Present at the front were the Page Eurosteel Absa African jersey wearers, Philip Bass and Peter de Toy, as were the men in yellow, Hans Becking and Wout Alleman of Buff Megamo, and Obeer Leert Speed Company's Lucas Baum and Gail Geiger. The latter survived an uphill crash, but continued to drive the pace. Eventually, Becking and Alleman forced a split, dragging World Bicycle Relief, Toyota Specialized 91 and Canyon SIDI with them up the rocky Waterval climb and into the Zuurvlakte. Baum and Egger missed the split and were forced to chase. Simon Stiepjan of Singer Racing led the chasers, with Jaroslav Kulhave and Flip Adal of the Superior Lines. Further back, Bass and Detroit were with fellow All-African teams Toyota Specialized and Imbuco A. In the Zuurvlakte, the front and chase group came together, though the size of the group made the riding more hazardous rather than faster with the additional numbers. The region had been ravaged by a wildfire in January, and the 2 months of wind erosion had littered the roads with stones and erosion washaways. Every rider had to watch where their wheels were going at every moment. On the descent, which followed the Kloof climb, the group stretched out naturally as they followed the sole smooth line, avoiding issues by leaving a gap to the rider in front and dodging rocks or potholes. In the high-speed chaos, the individuals within teams were split on the road. But that was not an issue in and of itself if the descent was drama-free. That was not the case for Finney, however. A rock must have been flicked up and into the Dane's drivetrain. He had to stop to put his chain back onto his chainring. His partner Schurter came back to help pace back to the lead group, but that wasn't to be for World Bicycle Relief. They were forced to stop repeatedly, attempting near constant running repairs on Finney's stricken drivetrain. The pair's frustration was clear to see as they watched their aspirations evaporating in the trailside heat. The lead group went through the Bergse Wine Estate water point at the foot of Bain's Kloof Pass with 50 kilometers to race, with a 1-minute lead on Schurter and company. In the Aramex women's race, the relatively benign start to the stage allowed the lesser contenders to remain with the leaders for longer. The full women's peloton still contained 18 of the 19 teams who started. Only Cannondale ISP's Monica Calderon and teammate Marichexel Figueras had dropped out after stage 1. The rest remained resolute, battling for minor places behind the top 5 teams who'd monopolised those positions on each stage thus far. Once the climbing began, the field thinned out to just Ghost Factory Racing, Toyota Specialized 91, Cannondale Factory Racing, with Losa and Skada fighting to remain in contact. They could, however, not match the climbing pace of Terpstra, Kohler, Lille, Mitterwalner, Gomez Viafan and Shepherd, who continued to edge away despite the technicality of the Waterval ascent. They were even forced off their bikes at times, but still managed a good pace. Behind, Giraud and Skada were climbing stronger than their teammates, but Isla Stowe and Laura Stark were better matched, as were Janka Stefkova and Martina Kahulkova. In the Zooflakte, the leaders pushed on, with Lille setting the tempo, as has often been the way the front group of the UCI women have covered kilometres in this year's race. The South African marathon champion's rivals were happy for her to do the work. On the flats, Skada led the chase group. The American was not making inroads into the deficit, however, and the group up the road maintained their advantage through the Kloof climb and descent until they passed through the first water point, 35 kilometres into the day's 94-kilometre long course. The Exaro jersey competition for riders under the age of 26 from historically disadvantaged communities is one of the race's most enduring good news stories.
My name is Damon, this is Leandro and Leander, and this is our first Cape Epic at the Queen stage. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Just love the climbing. And more uphills means more downhills.
For the young men and women in the competition, it presents remarkable opportunities.
My name is Lala. I'm 23 years of age now. I've done 3 epics already. This will be my 4th one. It's a race that measures all. Like, we train so much for it. Like, as soon as the epic ends, it's another training for the next epic. So it's one of the greatest races in the world.
My name is Masitole Zondani. I'm riding for Exaro MTB Academy. This is my 2nd epic now. Like, I came back because of the opportunity we are given by Exaro and because of the development jersey which we expect to win in this race, because of it gives us the opportunity to be able to study for our school fees, and also it gives us an opportunity to show even in the academies we are coming from that we can do epic, and also there's also opportunities that can take you further in this world.
The opening stages were testing days for the entire Exaro field, with a light green jersey changing hands from the Fairtree DP World Cannondale team to the Cupeto squad. But with 4 days left to race, anything could still happen.
We started good. My partner, and the last climb, he started struggling, so I fall back to help him, and we managed our 3rd spot at Exaro. So yeah, looking forward to tomorrow, recover, and yeah, let's see what tomorrow brings.
Today was the first 40Ks was quite tough because it was all flat, but then towards the end it started getting better with the climbing. So yeah, it was actually quite fun. Toughest part was the last climb, can't remember the name, but yeah, that thing was steep. But yeah, it was quite lekker.
Yeah, today it was tough. We were trying to go all hard, but my partner got a problem with the free-wheel body, so we had a support team which helped us to save the day. So hopefully tomorrow we'll see how it goes. Yeah, racing for Exaro, the competition is high this year, but yeah, we're looking forward to bring it on.
When the men reached Bain's Kloof Pass, the Beers Express cranked up its motor and Grotz checked the tickets. With Canyon SIDI, Singer Racing, Buff Megamo, Imbuko A, Obeerleert Speed Company, Paga Eurosteel and even the Superior Lions admitted to the train, it departed for the summit. Such was the strength of Andreas Seewald's legs that he ranged off the front, but the former world champion's teammate Marc Stutzmann was unable to bridge to him. Behind, Schurter and Finney had no chance of reeling in the leaders. Over the summit there was an opportunity to recover before hitting the trails. Dry and exceptionally dusty, with a fine powder being kicked up by the riders ahead, the descent towards Dulhof was fast and sketchy in places. Gradually the intensity was ebbing from World Bicycle Relief's pursuit. On the full Monty single-track descent, Canyon SIDI again upped the ante. Seewald and Stutzmann took risks to split the front group to a smaller pack before attacking on a kick between sections of trail. Again, it was the German marathon champion who forced the group to choose to follow or let them slip away. Whether it was their legs or a tactical decision behind matters little. Stutzmann bridged across and the pair resumed their madcap drop through the wild boar trails. Rapidly, they established a handy lead and disappeared out of sight in the twisting trails through the pine plantations. The general classification contenders, Buff Megamo, Toyota Specialized 91 and Obeerleert Speed Company, were content to mark each other, unwilling to take the same risks Canyon SIDI were happily accepting in pursuit of stage honours. Having endured a difficult opening 3 days to the 2024 race, Seewald and Stutzmann were clearly feeling much better on stage 3. Exploiting the return of their form, they charged through the trails, knowing there'd be indecision and hesitancy behind them. That said, when the single tracks presented the opportunity, Grotz and company flew through the trails too. The American was also perhaps growing into the race. Almost growing in stature as Schurter's conviction waned. At the front, there was no stopping Canyon SIDI. They crossed the line in Wellington, elated and victorious. For the second day in a row, a three-way battle for second was playing out behind the winners. But this time, Beers and Grotz prevailed in a sprint over Baumanegger. Becking and Alleman had to be content with fourth. Schurter and Finney finished in a group with William Vittoria, Imbuka A and Buff Megamo 2, conceding vital minutes in the battle for yellow.
So yeah, it's super nice to win a stage here. Always it's something super special. And the most I'm happy for Marc because he had the legs already the last 2 days. And I struggled the last 2 days quite a lot. So I'm not really sure what was it, but maybe the dynamics of this stage was suited more for me. And so I had the power to attack towards the end. And yeah, well, super happy.
It was a really nice stage actually, proper hard, proper epic. I think it was a lot slower going in the beginning than maybe they anticipated just because of the rain that we've had. But yeah, really cool stage up over Bain's Kloof, and I kind of knew most of the way here, and this finish I knew from a couple of years back, so I knew about 3 or 4 Ks from the end, like if you're on the front, no one can get past, so I just positioned ourselves in and then just kind of paced it in.
It was hard luck. Finney broke the chain holder, and we had to stop a few times to sort it out. Yeah, it was hard luck. Then we had to chase again. Yesterday already was tough. Today again, so yeah, we lost also a bit like the fighting spirit, but yeah, hopefully we can recover well, and the luck is on our side for the next days.
For the first time in the 2024 race, Canyon SIDI stepped up onto the podium and claimed the top spot to boot. Seewald and Stutzmann were joined by Beers, Grotz, Baum and Egger. The day's winners were ahead of the expected arrival times throughout the stage, posting a winning time at 3 hours 40 minutes and 24 seconds. The day's big losers, Schurter and Finney, conceded 4 minutes and 9 seconds to the winners. World Bicycle Relief's misfortune solidified Buff Megamo's position in the yellow Cheer Vita jerseys. After stage 3, Baking and Alleman lead Beers and Grotz by 1 minute and 47 seconds. Schurter and Finney dropped from second to third, 3:47 off the leaders and 2 minutes behind Toyota Specialized 91. In 11th and 12th overall, Page Eurosteel hold a single second advantage over Imbuka A in the Absa African Jersey competition. Racing up to and through Stage 3's Toyota Tough segment, the Aramex women's lead group still consisted of Ghost Factory Racing, Toyota Specialized 91 and Cannondale Factory Racing. But on the flats, before the Bain Kloof pass kicked up, Loss and Skada made their catch. Rather than sit in, the American countered immediately and upped the speed at which the group scaled the famous pass. Unfortunately, Losser and Skada weren't able to maintain their tempo and could not summit with the group. And on the dual track climb that followed, Shepherd began to suffer. Though she was able to bridge back to Cannondale Factory Racing on the descent which followed, both the second and third place general classification teams were unable to match Terpstra and Kohler's descending, or their time trialling abilities. The chase was led by Lille, but without the assistance of the Cannondale Factory Racing's arrivals, there was little hope of reeling in the Ghost Factory Racing train. Kohler tapped into her road pedigree and towed Terpstra to a fourth stage victory of the race. The momentum firmly on their side. A significant deterioration in form or health would be needed to overturn the women in Orange's commanding position. In the fight for second, Gomez, Viefan and Shepherd pushed Lille and Mitterwalder all the way to the line. Despite having saved energy in the run-in, they were unable to best the Cannondale Factory Racing team.
Yeah, we could get a gap in the downhill, in the first long downhill, and it was we thought we take this chance and try to ride alone and try to pace it until the finish, and we got away with a few seconds. I felt pretty good today, and I hope it's staying like this for the next few days.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long pull to the line. I don't know, the Specialized women didn't want to work with us at all, so between the two of us we did everything to get to the line. And personally, I didn't really care so much about the sprint finish, I just wanted to minimize the gap. We just gave everything to the line, and I think we won the sprint, which is also cool.
A perfect 4 top steps from 4 podium visits for Terpstra and Kohler continued their Absa Cape Epic success. They were joined once again by Lille, Mitterwalder, Gomez Viefan and Shepherd. The stage winning time was 4 hours 31 minutes and 27 seconds, which was the largest gap between the Ghost and Cannondale Factory Racing squads since the prologue. Ghost Factory Racing's victory extended their general classification lead. Stage 3's efforts effectively doubled the women in the orange Chivita jerseys' advantage, taking it to 2 minutes and 29 seconds. Toyota Specialized 91 remained third. Further back in the Absa African jersey battle, Efficient, Infinity and Sure switched places with She Untamed, earning the red jerseys as a result, but there are under 2 minutes between those two teams. The extreme heat which made Stage 3 a challenge is predicted to be a greater issue during Stage 4. With the mercury set to rise to 39 degrees Celsius, the Queen Stage route will be shortened from 88 kilometres with 3,000 metres of climbing to 73 kilometres with 2,550 metres of elevation gain. The iconic Cliffhanger Trail remains, however, and is sure to provide the testing ground for a potential general classification shake-up.
And the sounds of the